What is up, my G's? This is 40 Casuals MMA betting show. I'm your host, Fobs, alongside my host, Ed. We are going to be using our platform to break down some fights. UFC Fight Night, Tuivasa versus Tybura. Not a great fight card, but it is what it is after two bangers of pay-per-views and one more coming up in UFC 300. Go ahead.
Yeah, so not the best fight card, but I mean, I guess you can't always have them great every week. It's still pretty decent fights. There's a couple of them that I'm actually looking forward to watching, but I think it's just something to hold us off. The thing we're waiting for is UFC 300, and we'll get there when we get there. So we this is just one of the few stopping points along the way so far.
That's a great point, my G.
But I know that I'm excited. At least we have some fights. Some fights are better than none because after a while, we all kind of go crazy and then we're scratching our heads asking for a Holly Holm fight night Apex main event. So at least this one has a couple of fights. And are you ready to break it down?
Yeah, absolutely. First fight, we're gonna go from the bottom of the card. So from the early prelims, we have Charlampus Gregorio against Chad and Helliger. At this point, Chad and Helliger, we both know who these two fighters are. Chad and Helliger is 37 years old. I don't like to bet people that are over 35. I broke that rule last weekend with the Gilbert Burns bet. I put a bet on him, and honestly, he looked good until he didn't look good. Um, he was getting cooked on the feet, in my opinion, and on the ground he was getting JDM down. He had the fight in the bag, and then he does a stupid mistake, and he ends up getting finished. But on the feet, it wasn't close. I know people are trying to argue that it was close on the feet. I don't think it was close on the feet, if I'm being completely honest. So, but back to this fight, Chad Kelleher is 37 years old, at 135 pounds. That's very ancient. I'm gonna go ahead and pass on this fight, but if I had to pick someone, I'm gonna pick Chalampus Gregorio. What do you think?
Yeah, so the way I was looking at this, I like what you said right there. We don't like the older fighters, especially in the lighter weight classes. Their speed tend to goes away, and they end up looking ancient, especially at that weight class. But looking over it, Charlampus Gregorio is 4-1 in his last five fights. I think his last fight was that first round finish in the Contender Series. I kind of like this guy. I think he's a striker with power in his hands. He has heavy low kicks, and he can grapple and can use his takedown defense and has good pressure once he's on the top. I think he's actually a solid prospect. And to put him up against a 37-year-old that has lost his last two fights in a row, I think it's just the making of what it's supposed to be. I think Gregorio is supposed to come out and win this fight, and I think he can hang on the feet, and I think he can grapple if he does get in trouble. And looking over it, what's it called? And Helliger in his last, I think in four fights in the UFC, he's been taken down at least 10 times. So I think that I'm gonna pick Charlampus Gregorio in this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a very strong take, but not really interested in this fight either. So we'll go ahead on the next fight. The next fight we are going from the, like I said, the bottom of the order on Google. So next fight is Thiago Moises against Mitch Ramirez. We both know who these two fighters are. Mitch Ramirez getting knocked out in the Contender Series, and obviously he is a late notice replacement for Brad Riddell. Um, I honestly think Mitch Ramirez in the first round could be a live lock, but if it gets extended past one round, I think Thiago Moises is gonna take over, to be honest, and quite honestly finish him. So for me, my pick is Thiago Moises, just because he's the more overall rounded fighter, and Mitch Ramirez is coming in very late notice. So I don't really like that. He does have power in the hands, but yeah, he's gotten knocked out in the Contender Series, and it's not a great look when you get knocked out in the Contender Series, because most of the times you are faced up against another bum, if you're a bum, so, or a legit prospect in, honestly. But most of the time you're faced into like very low quality opponents or low caliber quality of opponents, and I don't really think he can outclass Thiago Moises in this fight. So for me, I'm picking Thiago Moises, just a more rounded fighter. He has great BJJ. He's training in America Top Team. They're dogs over there, and yeah, I feel like he's getting the reps with very high quality fighters at American Top Team, whereas Mitch Ramirez, coming off, I wouldn't say coming off the couch, but basically coming off the couch is going to try to fight him. I don't think that's going to end well. So Thiago Moises is my pick. What do you think?
Yeah, so looking over this fight, Thiago Moises, 2-3 in his last five fights. His last fight was that second round finish where he got finished against Benoit Saint Denis. This guy's actually been in the UFC for for quite a long time, and the crazy thing is he's only 28 years old. He's fought high level competition throughout that. People like Islam, Benoit, who else? Bobby Green, like people that are actual veterans and have been around a long time. But looking over him, I think he's a well-rounded fighter. He has good grappling. He's going to work towards submissions. He has good technical striking, and he can hold his own on the feet against most people. And he has that experience. Like I said, he's only 28 years old, but he's been in the UFC for a long time. And Mitch Ramirez, he's making his UFC debut. Like you said, he was KO'd in his Contender Series fight, and he is taking this fight on short notice. He's a wrestler who has good striking. I think he's going to try to use takedowns, try to get that to get takedowns, and he does have somewhat power in his hands. But Moises, he was taken down five times by Benoit, but I don't think Ramirez is the same level as Benoit. And I think he's going to win this fight. I think he's good enough to get back on his feet if he does get taken down. And I think he's just a more experienced, well rounded fighter in this case.
Yeah, absolutely. I rewatched the Malkachev fight just because this was when Islam was coming up and no one wanted to fight him, and it was a big deal. Malkachev against Moises, fight night. I remember his main event, and to my surprising, I mean, Thiago Moises did. I wouldn't say he did great defending the takedowns from Islam, but he defended at least three of them. So, like I said, I don't think Mitch Ramirez is an Islam or is it a Benoit or is a Joel Alvarez KO artist as well. I don't think he's all that as well. So I think Thiago Moises should get this one done. I think he's gonna grapple heavy. If he's smart, he'll grapple heavy and submit the guy. I'll be looking to lay some money on Thiago Moises by submission. It's at plus 115. But yeah, or he could either sub it and club him, I guess, like knock him out and use some ground and pound. But I think Thiago Moises, like I said, has covered all his bases in this fight, and I think he should be. He's the favorite for a reason, and it's very justifiable in my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree with you. All the experience and going off against a guy on short notice, it just spells a good victory for Moises, especially considering he has the tools, all the people he's faced, and I think this one should be a good fight for him. I think he gets this done, and I don't think Mitch Ramirez is probably not one of those going to be a top level contender in the division either.
Yeah, absolutely. But we can move forward. You can go ahead and break the next fight between Jacqueline Amarim against Corey McKenna. Go ahead.
Okay, so looking over this fight, Jacqueline Amora, she's 4-1 in her last five fights. I think her last fight was that round three finish of Montserrat Ruiz. She's pretty much a good grappler. She has good takedowns. She can get subs, and she does have some power in her hands. When striking, she's going to come forward and throw bombs at times. She's taking on Corey McKenna. Corey McKenna also 4-1 in her last five. She's currently on a two-fight winning streak. The only thing with her is she hasn't fought in a year, but besides that, she's well-rounded. She's aggressive. She's gonna come forward and throw all different types of attacks. She can also grapple and work in submissions. The only thing I really don't like about her when it comes to the standing game is that she is hittable. But when I was looking over this fight, the only question I have is McKenna coming off a long layoff, has it affected her? Because some people they come off long layoffs and look better than they have before they fought. But I think overall she's the better fighter with better cardio, and I think she has different ways she can win. I think she's going to be my pick to win this fight, but this kind of pick is kind of like a low confidence pick, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I like the Corey McKenna pick. Honestly, I think she's the much better fighter in general, And to your point, yes, you did say she's coming off a big layoff, but she's only 24, so I would only assume that she's just been working hard in the gym, trying to grind and basically fix her holes or her striking and fix anything that she's weak around in my opinion. Jacqueline, we know who Jacqueline is. I did watch that Montserrat fight live, and to my impression, I think she could have finished the fight way earlier, and I feel like she just gasses kind of horribly at the end, in my opinion. Montserrat, obviously, we know who Montserrat was or is, and she's not that great. Honestly, she only has like good grappling or okay grappling, and striking is horrendous, and she just takes a beating. But I don't really rate that fight that high in my opinion, just because Montserrat is Montserrat, and Jacqueline was not looking that great at the end. So in my opinion, I think Corey McKenna should be the favorite, which she is, and I think she, like you said, she has more ways of to win. Yes, she has a 10-inch reach disadvantage in this fight, but Jacqueline is more of a grappler in my opinion, and she's not really known, to have like great boxing as well. So this fight should get ugly. But I rate Corey McKenna to win and to win the decision in my opinion.
And looking over, will be. I was like, unless you got anything else on that one, I think that one's pretty straightforward. We can get into the next fight.
Yeah, go ahead since you're already eager to talk about Danny Silva.
Yeah, so the next fight is Josh Kulaba versus
Coolibao.
Danny Silva. How you say it?
Coolibao.
Kulaba?
Yeah.
Okay, Kulaba. Josh Kulaba, he's 3-1-1 in his last 5 fights. He's coming off that unanimous decision loss to Lerone Murphy. Looking over it, he's an aggressive striker who's very tough. He has power in his hands, and he doesn't mind kind of getting into a firefight with his opponents. And Silva, he's making his UFC debut, if I'm correct. He came from the Contender Series. He's 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's a good striker. He moves a lot. He switch it up, throw to the body. Has good takedown defense and can get up off the ground. He's pretty much a solid fighter who can wear down his opponents and get a decision win. When I was looking over at this fight, I thought that Josh Kulaba is the better fighter because Silva has good striking, but isn't really dangerous, and he can be taken down on the ground. And I think Josh should be a better striker and be more dangerous in this fight. So I'm gonna ride with him in this one.
Yeah, I like that pick as well. I know we're agreeing on most of them, but I think Josh Colibau, I believe he edges him on the wrestling, in my opinion. I think he's the better grappler. We didn't really see. I remember watching the Angel Pacheco fight. Pacheco's a dog, by the way. He took a beating in that fight, and Danny Silva couldn't take him out. And I don't think he really tried for any sort of takedowns, if I'm corrected. Maybe mistaken. I need to rewatch the fight again. But like to your point, you did say that Kulibao is more rounded and he has the UFC experience behind. I think if we put Murphy alongside Danny Silva, of course, Leron Murphy is the better striker than Danny Silva. Excuse me. So if he could get through a decision with Leron Murphy, yes, it was unanimous, but if he could get through Leron Murphy, I don't think Danny Silva can knock him out or put him out. I think Joshua Kulibau should be fine here. He's gonna try to pick him apart, try to maybe mix in the takedowns if he could, and show him different levels. Show him that there's levels to this game. I think Kulibau wins this one by decision, in my opinion.
Agreed.
But if you don't have anything else to go from that, then we can move on to the next fight. You ready?
Yeah, we can go ahead and get on to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Jaffiel Filio against Odie Osborne. We both know who both of these fighters are. Jaffiel Filio, I believe he's very well rounded overall. He has great submission skills. He's a great grappler. We saw it in the Makayev fight. He almost had him out with the knee bar. And we know Audie Osborne. Audie Osborne, in my opinion, is a very electric fighter. He'll go for kicks. He'll go for knees. He'll throw fancy striking. But I feel like his main weakness is when you take him down. You know, like his grappling is not that great, and he tends to basically, how do I put it? Like he tends to telegraph his next move very badly, and we saw it on the Tyson Nam fight where he telegraphed, what was it, the knee? He got him with a knee, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he got him with a knee, and because it was very, very telegraphed, or I think a punch. I'm not too sure. I really can't remember. But the point is, he telegraphed his next move, and Tyson Nam got him and knocked him out, basically. So I think Rafael Filier should get this one done. I think he should be safe. I think he is going to grapple in this fight. He's going to mix in the takedowns. He's going to mix in the striking. And I honestly think that he can submit Odie Osborne, honestly, because he is the much better grappler. I feel like he's a good grappler, and I believe he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but don't quote me on that. But I'm fairly certain that he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. What do you think?
Yeah, so looking over this, Filio, he's 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's coming off that triangle choke win over Daniel Barres. When I was looking at this guy, he sets a fast pace. He's going to work his takedowns. He can get wild at time, but he does have some power in his hands. Is fast with his striking. And if he does get backed up in a striking battle, then he looks to work in his grappling. Odie Osborne, he's 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He's coming into this fight. I think he was suffered a loss. His last fight was a loss in round 2 against Asum Alabayev, who is looking really good so far in the UFC. He had a good win over CJ Vergaro in UFC 299. But looking over at Osborne, like you said, he's a striker. He's going to use his range, and he has a lot of power in his hands, and he's capable of sometimes getting takedowns. But like you said, I like what you were saying with, I think Filio has the grappling advantage in this fight. I think Odie is the better striker, but I think with the wrestling advantage Filio will have, I think he'll be able to take him down and win this fight. But I think this one could be a pretty close fight. Something that people would probably sweat their money on if you're placing any on this one. Because what is it? Filio is only a minus 165 and Odie is a plus 135. He's honestly a pretty good dog looking at it, but I think Filio is going to be able to take advantage with his grappling and probably get a decision win out of this fight.
Yeah, I just don't like the defensive grappling from Audie Osborne. Like he tends to get into very weird submission threats, and he doesn't really get back up to his feet right away. So I don't like that from him, and I don't think, I don't think I can trust him enough to stuff the takedowns, minimize the submission threats, and pull away with the victory, like striking victory. So in my opinion, yeah, I'll pick Rafael Filio. But like you said, it's a very close fight on the feet. Audie Osborne has the advantage, so that kind of evens up the fight. But when you mix in the takedowns and you're successful, you're gonna be like Peter Yan when he was fighting Young last weekend. He was still scared of the takedowns, even though Young wasn't really threatening the takedowns. But that's because of the Marab effect, so to speak.
Or flashbacks.
Yeah, exactly. Moving forward, one of the fights that I know my friend Ed has circled in his calendar: Joshua Nunes against Chelsea Chandler. You can go ahead and break this one down because I know you're so eager to break it down.
Yeah, I was so eager to break it down because Nunez is my boy Fob's girlfriend. They've been dating for a while. I mean, it's kind of surprising, but yeah. So looking over at this, Josanne Nunez, she's coming into this fight on a 9-fight winning streak. She's undefeated so far in the UFC. She's a striker who throws hard, has power in her hands, but her grappling really isn't the best. She's looking at it, she's going to come forward, throw leg kicks and big overhands. She's coming off that decision win against Zara Foran, who is 40 years old. So take that as you will. And Chandler, she's 4-1 in her last 5 fights. In her last appearance, she had a loss against Norman Dumont decision. She's very big and powerful overall. I think she's well rounded. I feel like she's gonna come forward, throw big punches, and she'll try to push her opponents against the cage and work in takedowns. She's very tough and will come forward in a fight. When I was looking at this one, I thought this one was a pretty toss up. What's it called? Chandler does train out of Caesar Gracie Jiu Jitsu, so I feel like she has the grappling edge over Nunes, who's also very compact but tiny. I think she's only like 5'2", and she has a 6'7". Not much of a reach advantage for Chandler. I think it's only like 1 inch or something like that. But on this one, I think this one is really a toss up. What are the odds on this one? Because I think the odds were pretty close on this one. Yeah, Nunes is only a minus 140 and Chelsea's only a plus 115. And looking over it, I think I'll take Chandler in this fight just because I feel like she will have the edge in grappling and she is powerful and big overall, and that she will try to use that throughout the fight and possibly get Nunes down. I know she's looked good since coming to the UFC, but when you take a 40-year-old to a decision, and before that, you're probably fighting some cans out in the regional scene, I think I'll probably take Chandler on this one and see how that one goes. I'll take the dog.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think everyone. I think this was the fight that everyone was very upset because they thought that Sarah Farin won. If you look at the numbers, she had the most strikes. She had the most significant strikes. There was no takedowns attempted by both ladies because obviously we know that Nunez doesn't really do that. She has power in the hands, like you said. And to your point, I think I like Chandler here in this fight too, as well. Just because Nunez is very unproven. I mean, her first fight in the UFC was against someone that was 2-0, and I thought that was ridiculous. So that's her first fight, and then afterwards she's been beating up on just bums basically. We have Sarah Farin who's 40, and then Ramona Pascual who is not that great, shouldn't be UFC worthy because she's 6-5 now. That's how bad she is. So just in general, I think the way I'm gonna play this is I'm gonna probably live bet Chandler after a round because I'm sure she's gonna look like she's dying at the beginning of the round, like throughout the first round. Honestly, she might even get like knocked down, not knocked out, knocked down, and but survived the round. And then I think she takes over round two, round three, and she wins up. She ends up winning a decision, if not a split decision, in my opinion. So Chandler's the pick. Not a very confident one either, but like you said, to put into perspective, like you said she's well rounded, and she is honestly. She's not the greatest at one discipline of martial arts, but she's just good to be dangerous, is what I'm gonna say. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like I said, this one was a toss up from the beginning, but I think like when you have more ways to win a fight, and as the fight goes on longer, I feel like it benefits you to be able to use those. If I'm just coming into a fight and I'm mainly just looking to use my striking and my grappling isn't the best, if I have someone that can hang on the feet and also impose that threat as a fight goes longer, they could impose their will, take you down, and use that and slow you down, especially because Nunez hasn't looked the best as well. And I don't know. I think she's maybe kind of a fraud, but I think Chandler should be a good dog in this fight.
Absolutely. We go ahead and move forward. We have Nathan Levy against Mike Davis. Mike Davis is a dog. Uh, Mostly, I remember him from his fight with Gilbert Burns a long time ago. I believe that when was that? That was 2019, right? Yeah,
Yeah, 2019,
yeah, when
April
he lost by
2019.
submission. Other than that, he's been out of the scenes honestly for a while since 2022 October. So this is a long layoff for him.
Yeah,
And we
both
know who
guys
Nathan
are.
Levy is. Not, I don't rate him high. He also did not fight all of 2023. Last fought in 2022 against Gennaro
Mhm.
Valdez, and as well as against Mike Breeden on April 30th of 2022. Both of these guys are coming in on big, big layoffs. Um, I'm gonna take Mike Davis just because I believe he is I've seen him work. He's always putting up tape that he's working. I feel like he's the better grappler in this sense. I think he's the better striker, and for some, the reach is only an inch and a half, so that's not that much. But he's gonna be the bigger man in my opinion. He is 6 foot. He's fighting at 155, and Nathan Levy is 5'8". And statistically speaking, give me 1 second when I pull up Mike Davis. Let's see, 1 second, my boy. 1 second. You can't knock him. You can't knock him from for losing against Gilbert Burns, um, because we know who Gilbert Burns is. You know he's in the top of the division for a reason. He's good. He almost beat JDM this past weekend, and he's 5'10". So to put into perspective, Gilbert Burns is 5'10", and we've seen him. We think he's a small welterweight, of course. Um, when they fought, did they fight a lightweight or welterweight? I can't remember. Lightweight. They fought a lightweight.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, Gilbert Burns should have been at lightweight this whole time. That's me, but he does better at welterweight. I think Mike Davis is just hella big for the division, and I think he can overpower, and he's gonna be stronger, bigger, and probably much faster than Aiden Levy. What do you think? My pick is Mike Davis, by the way.
Yeah, I kind of got that, but looking over it, like you said, both guys haven't fought since 2022. But the thing is with Mike Davis, that's kind of how he's kind of played out since 2019. He takes a fight, doesn't fight for another year, wins a fight, doesn't fight for another year. It's kind of how he's played out for the past couple of years. So I'm not worried about a long layoff because he's had those before. And I think this layoff was to take care of some injuries he's had. But overall, he's a very fast and athletic striker, has power in his hands and good wrestling. He's an overall well-rounded fighter. And in those last 3 fights, he's had over 10 takedowns. And looking over it, Mike Davis, he's mainly a primary grappler, has some good takedowns and slick BJJ. He's going to come forward at you, but his striking isn't the best. And I think, Nathan Levy, and I think he also missed weight. If I'm not mistaken, I think he missed weight. I just think that Mike Davis has the ability to get the takedowns and avoid the BJJ of Nathan Levy. I think if that's how it's pretty much going to play out, take down, avoid BJJ, and probably how the fight ends up going. I think Mike Davis is the better fighter in this fight. Like I said, he has taken those long layoffs before and come back and get a win. It's just kind of how he's played out, and I think he probably does it again against someone that I don't really rate as high as Nathan Levy. So I'm going to agree with you on this. Surprisingly, all of our picks are lining up together. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I think Mike Davis is going to win this fight.
Awesome, awesome. Moving forward, we have Gerald Mearshart against Brian Barberena, GM3 against this ogre of a man, Brian Barberena. I think it's very simple for me on how we break this one down. Brian Barberena, we know he's a good striker. He has power on the hands. He's good on his feet. Gerald Mearshart, on the other hand, he's good with the submissions. Chin is kind of fragile. But I mean, we have seen him stun. Who did he stun that we were surprised? It was just Bruno Silva, of course. Bruno Silva, where I thought Gerald Mearshart was gonna go for the KO, but he's real. He went for the submission. I think he won me a submission bet. So in this pick, if Gerald doesn't die in the first 2 minutes, basically, I think he takes over. I think he can push on the pace. I think he's a much better grappler. He has the bigger reach. This is a new reformed Gerald too. After the Silva fight, he ends up looking really good, and I believe that's due to the fact that he's training hard. Obviously, he's not gonna be a world champ or anything. And then the Petrosky fight, where I had Mearshart as well for the submission, and we got close. He took him down, but he didn't. He ended up striking mostly in that fight. And if we look back at the numbers, he had more significant strikes. He had more total strikes, and He defended 3 takedowns from Andrew Petroski, and in my opinion, I think it was more of likely like a draw than Andrew Petroski winning that outright. In my opinion, of course. Obviously, the Joe Pyfer fight, we've seen that fight as well. Joe Pyfer is Joe Pyfer. He has power in the hands, but after a round, he dies, kind of. So that's the game plan that Brian Barberena needs to implement. He needs to go all out on the first round and get him out of there because Gerald has a weak chin. But if it extends past 5 minutes, I think Gerald Mearshart takes over, especially if he can have success with the grappling. And I see him submitting Brian Barberena. So to me, system play. Every time GM3 fights, it's by submission. I put it on there. It's an automatic at this point, honestly, because he doesn't go for the finish. He doesn't go for the KO finish. He always goes for the submission. Gerald Mearshart by KO is plus 1,000. Like I said, he has the 5.5-inch reach advantage. He could knock out Brian Barberena. Brian Barberena tends to, in his later fights now, he tends to fade, and the chin is not getting any better. We've seen him fight. Who did we fight? He got submitted by Gunnar Nelson, and I think GM3 is a little bit better of a grappler than Gunnar Nelson. And he got KO'd, or he KO'd Robbie Lawler, and he got submitted by Dos Anjos, and Dos Anjos is old but still elite. So I just think that Mearshart can take this one by submission. What do you think?
Okay, so if you know me, I think Brian Barberena is a bum. Looking at it, no, I'm being serious, dude. This guy is a bum. If you take him down, he cannot get up.
That's what I'm
That's the thing.
saying. That's why
So
it's a system play to play Gerald Mearshart by submission. The only time
it's the
the
only way.
Yeah, the only time that Barberena is gonna have success, it's when they're standing up, when they're fresh at the
Yeah.
beginning of the round. That's it. Other than that,
There's
I don't think he can
uh
keep up the pace with Gerald. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, you don't get the nickname Bam Bam by being able to get up off your ass, so I should know better, but I would assume someone that's been a professional fighter would at least work on getting back up. And Brian Barberino is not that guy. He's on a 3 fight losing streak. His last fight was a unanimous decision loss. I think he sucks, but if I'm being fair, he's going to come forward. He likes to get in a brawl. He kind of looks like the way he fights some guy in a bar that just wants to throw down. He's a busy striker, not really technical, but he can't defend or stuff a takedown for his life. He's been taken down 18 times in his past 3 fights. And I think Gerald Mearshart is a very good grappler. I think he's able to get any submissions he wants or a lot of submission he wants. He isn't the best wrestler, but I think his striking is decent, even though he is chinny. I think he will be able to work in the grappling and take Barberena down. I think it will play out. Barberena goes forward, throws something wild, gets taken down, and basically loses the fight because he can't get off his butt. I think Gerald Mearshart by submission is the play, like you said. Or you could have, I don't think it would probably happen, but also one is Gerald Mearshart winning by decision just because he was able to hold Brian Barberena down on the ground the entire time. But I would say the submission is the smarter play on that one.
Yeah, I just think that once he puts in the hooks, once he takes his back, I don't think, like you said, Barberena is basically a fish out of water when it comes to being on the ground. And Mearshart has submitted, very quality opponents in Dustin Stolfus, Mahmoud Muradov, Bruno Silva, I rate Bruno Silva higher than Barberena, and he submitted him. Who else has he submitted? Obviously, yes, we've seen him get crazy knockout against Khamzat Chimaev. He got KO'd against Khamzat, but who doesn't get KO'd against Khamzat? But yeah, I just think that he's fought the better quality competition, and to the opponents that he did get KO against has been like big power punchers. Thiago Santos,
Yeah, they're
long
not really
time.
bums.
Yeah, they've all been, like I said, big power punchers, and yes, Barberena does have power, but I think he can just. It's gonna be very hard for him to find Gerald Mearshart's chin. He has to move in closer to him due to the 5-inch reach disadvantage. And once he does that, I think Gerald is gonna clinch, maybe against the cage, inside leg trip, and then hold him down. So, like to your note, yes, by submission is a good play, or by technical decision, or by decision, whatever, is a good play as well. So we can move forward if you want, unless you have something else to add on this one.
No, I think I'm good because if anything, I would just go on the Brian Barberina sucks rant, and I don't think I want to do that.
No worries. Moving forward, go ahead and break down the next one.
I was like, we're starting to notice a trend when it comes to the woman fighters. I always get the first breakdown, but it's okay. I'm not sexist in any way. Women's MMA is still
MMA.
MMA at times, depends on who's fighting. But okay, looking over this, we have Macy. How do you say these names, bum?
Macy Chiasen or Chiasen, I don't know. And then Panini. I was gonna say Panini. Panini Kiansai.
Okay, because I was gonna say that too, but I was like, I don't think it's Panini. So looking over this fight, Panini, I was gonna say it again. She's 3-2 in her last 5 fights. She's coming off that unanimous decision loss to Vera. She's a good boxer, has good footwork, and she has good takedown defense. But in her last fight, she was taken down and looked like a fish out of water. She was just unable to get up throughout that whole fight. And if this was before that last fight, I would put more what's it called confidence on uh Panini. I was gonna say it again. But Macy is 3-2 her last 5 fights. Her last fight was that first round loss to Irene Aldana. Macy's tall and long. She's gonna use that for a jab. She has decent power, and the thing about her, she has worked in that wrestling. Before the Aldana fight, I think she fought Dumont, and she was able to get her 6 times throughout that fight. But she hasn't fought in over a year. The only kind of big question for me, but looking over it, Panini, the thing that deterred me is that last fight, being able to get taken down and look like you don't know what you're doing, and the fact that Macy has worked on the wrestling, I think that's gonna play a factor. I think Macy will use that and probably do the same thing. And if Panini hasn't worked in getting up or defending those takedowns, I think it's gonna end up like that, and she probably loses a unanimous decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I like your breakdown. I think honestly, if Panini, we're just gonna call it Panini, if Panini worked on her defensive grappling or defensive wrestling and could stuff the takedown, I think this looks like the Aldana fight. If I'm being honest, where she could obviously not knock her out, but she could lay some good punches from the outside and hit her target, hit the skull, work her jab. Do I think that Panini has worked her wrestling takedown defense? Probably not. I mean, how old is this woman? She's 32. Not gonna get any better. This is probably her peak. Um, like I said, she's 32. She's peaking. Only a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. But who knows? Maybe she got a good doctor and now she is cyborg, and then she's gonna go ahead and kill everyone. But no, I don't think that's gonna happen. I also think that for her to land her punches, she needs to get on the inside because she is at a 6-inch reach disadvantage. So that plays a factor when capping this, because if she's trying to get inside of the reach and whatnot, she's gonna have to make some mistakes or basically risk, and Macy's gonna be able to clinch her up and inside leg trip her, or just trip her in general and take her down to the canvas, where Panini is not the greatest. So Macy, I'd pick my pick is Macy Chiasen. Not a hot take for the silver hair Megan Rapinoe fighter. Uh but Macy, I was gonna say Megan Rapinoe. Macy Chiasen is the pick, unfortunately. Not a very strong take on this one. I'll probably pass on betting it unless I'm winning big and maybe I want to lay down on maybe Macy Chiasen by KO, or maybe Macy Chiasen by submission. Plus 600 on both of them. Not a bad bet, but yeah, it's a pass for me for now. Like I said, unless I'm winning hella big and I'm just rolling in money and I can risk losing 2 units or 1 or 2 units.
So basically, it doesn't happen. So don't worry about it, guys. No money going on this one.
Yeah, no money lost on this one.
Yeah. I was like, but besides that, I know we're both looking forward to the next fight, especially you. So I'm gonna let you start the next one, but I'll tell you who it is. It's Christian Rodriguez versus Isaac Dulgarian, and I'll let you break down this one because I know you've been excited for this one.
Oh my goodness! And then you tell me I was gonna give it to you to break down, but no, I guess just female fighters for you to break down first. Uh, we go
And then
ahead,
take
Isaac.
it. I can easily.
Isaac Dulgarian against Christian Rodriguez. We both know who these fighters are. If you don't, you're a casual, of course, and that's why you're probably listening to the podcast. Isaac Rodriguez, in my opinion, is a very well-rounded fighter. He's got good grappling. He's got solid striking. We've seen it. I think he's got good cardio as well, in my opinion. We've seen it in the Raul Rosas Jr. fight. He defended basically the takedowns because Raul Rosas Jr. just spammed the takedowns and he defended them. In the striking, it was all Christian Rodriguez. That it wasn't even close in the striking. Um, and then they give him Cameron Simon after that, which I rate Cameron Simon very high as well. Um, and that was a much closer fight, but Christian Rodriguez ended up basically winning some of those rounds because of the takedowns that he landed. Um, then we've got a beast of an animal in Isaac Dulgarian, who has tremendous KO power. He has KO power. He has good grappling, in my opinion, and in general he's a good. He comes from the Factory X Muay Thai gym, I believe. Correct? Is that correct?
Isaac Dulgarian.
Yes. Or is it MMA Labs?
Let's see. I have it in my laptop. Guys, if y'all would like to give me a new laptop, just shout out here. He works at Factory X.
Correct. Okay. Awesome. People over there at Factory X, they're killers. I like Factory X. I think they do a great job. I think basically the people that basically work there have good cardio. They have cardio for days. I think Raw Dog fights out of there as well. Um, and we know he's a cardio machine. They also work great on with their kicking game. Working the legs, kicking the legs. I'm very torn on this fight because I like both of these guys. Do we know? There's been questions on both sides. There's a question on Isaac Dulgarian because we haven't really seen him in the second or third round as well. So how is his cardio gonna do? I honestly think it's fine. He's gonna be okay. So for my pick, I think Isaac Dulgarian for me, just because he is a fan favorite of the podcast. He's always talked to me. He's been super nice. But besides him being nice to both of us and talking to us, I just think that he's the much better athlete. But who knows? Maybe Christian Rodriguez surprises us again and kills another prospect, because that's what they should change his name to the Prospect Killer, because he only kills prospects.
Damn you! I had that in my notes. God damn you!
But yeah, he's known as he should be known as the Prospect Killer because he always kills every prospect that comes up. I'm gonna go ahead and pick my boy Isaac Dulgarian. Yeah, just because of all those factors that I listed, and I think he should be game. He should be ready for this fight. And in all honesty, I'm gonna put it down here. I'm gonna say it's gonna be fight of the night, between these two fighters. What do you got?
God, you babble on, and damn you! You took my stupid name. I had it written down right there in the notes. I said that Rodriguez coming into this fight 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He has that unanimous decision against Cameron Sam,
Simon.
and he's also beaten Raul Rosas Jr. And he's basically the prospect killer, but that's out the window, so I can't market that anymore. But looking besides all that, he's a slick striker, has good speed and movement. He has some decent takedowns. We know who Isaac Dulgarian is. He's 6-0 in his MMA career. He had that first round finish against Francis Marshall in his UFC debut, which he looked really good. He looks like he's a legit prospect. He's exciting to watch. He has good wrestling. He's a solid striker. He will engage, and if he gets an opening, he will look for a takedown. The way that I looked at it this way, I think Isaac Dulgarian is a better wrestler than Raul Rosas Jr. And if Raul Rosas was able to beat up Rodriguez until he got tired in that fight, I feel like Isaac Dulgarian, who's an older fighter, 27 years old, better wrestler than Raul Rosas, and I'm gonna assume his cardio is better. I think he'll be able to take him down and do whatever he wants in this fight. I think Christian Rodriguez is a good fighter, but I think Raul Rosas Jr. isn't the real deal, and he was able to do what he wanted in that first round, taking him down, and only being, I think, 19 at the time, being young and blowing his gas tank. I think Isaac Dulgarian is going to do better managing his cardio throughout the fight. I think he will be able to take him down. And at 145, I just feel like he's a strong wrestler who's going to have the advantage in this fight. I think he gets this one done. And I know this one could be a close fight, but I think this is a high level confidence pick for me in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, we need some justice against or for Christian Rodriguez, man. That they're trying to get him killed. I swear, they just give him killers after killers and or prospects after prospects and hoping for him to lose, but he ends up winning. Um, I, Go ahead.
Well, looking at it, those were at bantamweight, and this one is at featherweight, correct? I was like, because
Yes.
he's missed weight plenty of times at bantamweight, so I don't think we'll see him going back down. So I think he's going to stay at featherweight, and I think Isaac Dulgarian is a real deal. I think he's a legit prospect. And like you said, he works out of Factory X with those guys. Brandon Royval is one of those guys, and he seems like a legit dude. He's a very nice guy from what you showed me and everything. And I'm going to be rooting for him. I think this is going to be a good fight. It does have that potential to be the fight of the night, I think, as well. But I think Isaac Dulgarian has the complete skill set. I think he will be stronger at 145 than Rodriguez would be. And I think his wrestling is better and that he has the ability to hang on the feet as well. So I think he's going to be my pick. I think it's a high level confidence pick. And looking over at it, Isaac Dulgarian at minus 185 really isn't a bad price on that. I would parlay that probably in somewhere, but that's going to be my pick. I think Isaac Dulgarian is going to be the side on this one.
Absolutely. We can move forward. We have OSP Ovens St. Preux against Kennedy and and I don't even know how to say the names, bro.
And Chuckway,
And Chakwe, that's what it was. Pretty easy forward or pretty easy fight to basically predict. I think Chakwe is gonna knock him out. I believe this is the return of OSP, if I'm not mistaken. He's 40 years old, hasn't fought in basically a year to this date. And last time he did fight, he got knocked out by Felipe Lins, who is not. I mean, I don't rate him as being the KO artist of the year as well. You know, he does have power, yes, but he's not. You know, he's not someone that's been getting KOs after KOs after KOs. You know, like other. And then after that, he beat 2022. He beat a Mauricio Rua, was extremely old. I believe Shogun was his last, not his last fight, but the last one after that. So second to last fight, and he was like 41.
yeah,
It was just two old men fighting. um, so I think,
and with tons of miles on him.
yeah, exactly. I think Nchakwu should get this one done. I'm hoping OSP lasts till round two, maybe. That way we can get Nchakwu at plus 275 for round two. Round three would be nice at plus 700 because round one is even. It's at plus 100, and that's. I don't think I want to take those odds just to rely on him trying to knock him out. Or we could see him. I don't know if he'll be able to submit him. I mean, he did submit Devin Clark, which was kind of random. Back when they fought last year, Nchakwe. But yeah, I think Kennedy and Nchakwe should be fine. Kennedy and Nchakwe by submission is at plus 575. So if you want to lay maybe half a unit on that. Sure, I mean I wouldn't blame you just because he has proven himself to submit a much bigger opponent in Devin Clark. Um, but yeah, I just think that OSP should die here. To be honest, what do you think?
I think it's OSP all day
Oh,
if I
I
was
know.
using bath salts or anything, but I'm not. So we know this is pretty straightforward. OSP, like you said, he's 40 years old. He got KO'd by Philip Lenz, who did have a good performance against Ian Kutalaba in this last pay per view, but he's not a knockout artist. I feel that OSP has no chin anymore. I feel like he's older. He's dangerous, but I don't think he throws very low volume. And really, I think it's in Checkways fight to win. I feel like the UFC last time he fought Justin Jacoby, were setting him up to look even better, but I feel like they thought he was on a slide and that Nchukwu could have got it done and then got knocked out. But besides that, um, he's a low volume striker as well, but he does throw with power and hard. And I feel that Ovin St. Preux with no chin, who's also low volume and way older, I think this is Nchukwu's fight to win. I'm pretty sure it's pretty straightforward. Not really anything to break down. Both guys are just power hitters, low volume. It's just that one of them's ancient and 40 years old with no chin anymore. So I think this is Kenny and Chukwu all day. And if it's not, I swear I'll probably jump out of my apartment. But it should be a pretty straightforward fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, unless he starts piecing him up in the body and then he kind of OSP shelves up, I think we can honestly see Nchakwe basically doing the same thing to OSP that he did to Devin Clark, and that is submit him. I think he got what, a standing neck crank or neck choke, right? From what I remember.
Yeah, I think so. And Chukwu
Yeah, against Devin Clark.
against Devin Clark, he got standing guillotine choke. Yeah.
Yeah. So he got a standing guillotine choke. That's that thing. I feel like that can happen again against OSP. Honestly, if you were to predict Kennedy and Chakwe round one KO, it's at plus 120. Round one is just at plus 100. So you just predict round one because it's just plus 100. Um, but if you predict submission round one, it's plus 1,000. Submission round two, it's plus 1,800, and then submission round three is plus 3,300. Um, I don't think it's gonna be round three just because submitting some of the bigger men round two, round three is a little bit harder since they start to sweat more and they start to get more slippery and greasy. So I think I'm gonna take a flyer on Nchakwe by round submission by round one. Honestly, like he might do the same thing, like I said to Devin, like he did to Devin Clark, and then I'm gonna be crying for not taking that. He did it in round two against Devin Clark. So round two plus 1,800, like that's pretty nice. But yeah, I think that, like you said, this is Nchakwe's fight to win or fight to lose. If he fights stupid, then he might get knocked out. But I think he should be fine here, to be honest.
Yeah, and then looking over it, if you're looking to touch this in any way as a betting purpose, I feel like you have to take either the rounds by either submission or KO, because if you're just looking at it as oh, in Chokwe he's gonna start Ovin St. Preux, minus 750 isn't worth it to add a couple of dollars on your parlay or whatever, because people should have learned by now. I think it was with one of the Basharat brothers, those big overpriced money lines, it's not worth it. I think you have to play this fight as a round battle, and which round you think that Kennedy and Chuckway could get it done. Because minus 750, it's not appetizing. That's not really going to do anything for you. So maximize your money and play the round, whether you want to get it by KO or submission. But I think Nchokwe probably gets it done in round one or two. I feel like he probably knocks him out just because I feel like Ovin St. Preux doesn't have any chin anymore. But either way, I think a submission would be a nice play too, because that could happen as well.
Absolutely. Moving forward, we have Brian Pooh Bear Battle. I know he wants to be called the Butcher, but Pooh Bear was his original nickname. Against my ninja, Angelusa, the last ninja. um, you can go ahead and break this one down since you said I never give you main events or co-main events to break down. Go ahead.
You bum! I'm supposed to take the main event.
You can take the main event. It's
I
fine. Go
get.
ahead.
I was like, supposed to. I'll start off the. I mean, I'll start this one off, and I'll go second on the main event. So basically, looking over at this fight, we got Brian Battle versus Ange Lusa. I guess is how you say it.
Yeah, Angelusa.
Brian Battle, Angelusa. Brian Battle 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's currently on a 2-fight win streak where he's finished both of his opponents. His last fight was that rear naked choke win against AJ Fletcher in the second round. Looking over at Brian Battle, I actually like this guy. I think he's constantly improving in every department each time we see him. I think his striking is improved. He's shown to have that KO power. His takedowns look good as well. He has shown to be able to get submissions, and his cardio looks pretty solid as well. He's taken on Angelusa, 3-2 in his last, or wait, I think 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He's coming off a decision win against McKee. He has solid power, a good chin. He knows how to manage his range. He has good takedown and can work takedown defense and can work in his own wrestling. I think this fight is kind of tricky just because I think Angelusa is a good striker. I think he's pretty well rounded and does hit hard, but I'm going to ride with Brian Battle on this one just because this guy has shown me that he can improve and he's looked good in every fight. Every fight, he just looks like he's a new version of himself. And I feel like he does put in the hard work and has like talent enough where he could be a star in the future. Obviously, he's not there right now, but I think Pooh Bear can get it done. I think I'm going to pick him in this fight. This one is going to be a close one, I think, but looking over at this guy, I don't know how you can just count him out or deny him. Uh, but if you're looking at Angelusa, I think he is a good dog. Plus 150 is a good price to lick your lips at. But I think Brian Battle is going to be the pick on this one. I just like this guy, and I feel like he's going to be able to get this one done and just keep raising his stock after this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. This fight is kind of weird to break down, honestly, because we don't know if Angelusa has gone any better since his last performance, which was a win against Reese McKee. I rewatched the fight. Angelusa was winning the first probably round and a half, in my opinion. And then Reese McKee was pushing the pace. And then Reese McKee was looking good. And Angelusa was having a cardiac arrest. And Reese McKee just needed to stuff more takedowns and keep it at distance and throw a little bit more punches. And he honestly would have won that. But he didn't. He didn't win that. Do I think Brian Battle is like Reese McKee and can push the pace? I don't think so. I think historically both Brian Battle or Brian has been low volume, correct? Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, very low volume. I think I mean the Renault fight he did last. He stuffed 2 takedowns. I think just Angelusa needs to basically control his cardio and he should win this one. My biggest take from this is Angelusa is training out of Kill Cliff. So he's training with top tier opponent or top tier sparring partners, top tier instructors. He's seeing different looks from his sparring partners, his training partners, and he's surrounded by good people and top quality competition. Brian Battle, on the other hand, is training out of some gym in Carolina. Probably not the highest basically sparring partners or level of competition for you to
I
get
do
better.
not know about Carolina Combat.
Get out of here. You don't even know about Carolina combat sports and fitness.
What do you mean? I fly out there all the time, constantly putting in the work.
I just don't think that, to be honest, like how much better can he get fighting out of that gym? Like he's probably the biggest star out of there, correct? Is that safe to say?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna take the shot at Angelusa in this fight. Honestly, the pick is Angelusa for me. This is gonna be the one fight that we disagree. Brian Battle could probably come out there and look fantastic, better than ever, but we don't know. We don't know how much better he's gone out of the Carolina Combat Sports and Fitness gym. It could be a sleeper gym, and for all we know, he's the next. He's the next welterweight contender or
John
champion of the
Jones.
world. So who knows?
I don't like how I don't like how you add that sports and fitness at the end of it. Like
That's what it's called. I can't. It's Carolina Combat Sports and Fitness.
you make it seem like it's a freaking like a Planet Fitness or an Anytime Fitness gym.
it's a 9-round boxing gym. So I don't know.
Finally, though, we got our first.
For all we know, Brian Battle has been bringing in, Leon Edwards for the training camp at Carolina's Combat Sports and Fitness, or maybe he's fighting against my accountant and carrying the soccer mom, and they're giving him hard battles as well. So we don't know how he's gonna look. I don't really rate that gym high. He's the biggest star. Angelusa has been fighting or training with some killer competition at Kill Cliff. GM3's there. Robbie Lawler's there. Derek Brunson's there. Brandon All-In Allen is there. Burns is there.
All bums besides Brendan Allen.
What's that?
I said so bums. You just name what'd you name Derek Brunson, Robbie Lawler, so all old past their prime bums.
Gilbert Burns is there. Vicente Luque is there.
Kind of bummish if you're asking me.
Jason Jackson from PFL is there. Or
okay,
Bellator.
yeah. Okay, that guy's a killer.
Yeah, Logan Storley's there. So these are all. Impa Kasagane is there. So these are all basically good fighters that he can basically train with, especially if he's training with. I haven't seen like his Instagram, so I couldn't tell you like he's sparring with Jason Jackson and he's whooping his ass every other day. No, I can't lie to you and say that, but I'm assuming he's sparring with high level competition or opponents or sparring partners. And I'm assuming he's only gonna get better. So if he basically controls his cardio, I feel like he should be fine. He should win another decision. I think Brian Battle is strong enough to withstand his power and to withstand 3 rounds. If it was 5 rounds, maybe Brian Battle would be the pick. But I think Angelusa should be fine here and he should get it done. So I'm taking the dog on this one. So dogs are gonna be barking for this fight.
I hope not, but I was trying to make a point when I looked at Brian Battle's Instagram, and I was like, hold on. I was like, what do you mean he's not training with no one? He's training with Jonathan Martin, Aries Fight Series 155 champ. And I was like, yeah, never mind. I think this one might be Angelus.
Hey, but you can't change your pick. You can't change your pick.
I'm still riding with Brian Battle. I'm still riding with this guy. I think even if he's facing bums, I don't think this guy is a bum.
Yeah,
and
bro. What do you
honestly,
mean?
this guy.
He's facing Jonathan, North Carolina's finest, the phenom Martin, 5-2, baby, champ.
And not only that, Brian Battle looks like he is juicy right now. He is on some strong stuff. So I'm riding with this man.
All right. Well, we'll see come tomorrow night or tomorrow evening, honestly. And now on to our main event, Tai Tuivasa against Marcin Tybura. Go ahead and break this one down. I know you've been.
No, I will let you. I will. This is the best for last, so you go first.
Oh my God, what a bum! All right, we both know who both of these fighters are. Tai Tuivasa, we both know who he is. We both know who Marcin Tybura is. Both at this point, both of them are kind of veterans of the game of heavyweight. I've seen them fight a lot, so tape was not needed for this one. Marcin, 38 years old. Doesn't seem like he can take a punch anymore, unfortunately. Tai Tuivasa, 30 years old, hits like a truck, but is a fish out of water when it comes to basically being on the ground, on the mat. I think the only way to play this is Tuivasa by KO in the beginnings of the round. If Marcin can withstand that and make it a dog of a fight, then Marcin Tybura is live to bet, in my opinion. One of the fights that I didn't like was I believe it was the Derek Lewis fight against Tuivasa. I know he won that fight in round two, but I think like basically when even when Derek Lewis was doing those trips, like he was getting him down, and Tuivasa was taking a while to get back up. Martin does have those
Yeah.
trips, and I've seen him. I've seen him fight against, let's see, Alexander Romanov, and he basically. I know Romanov is mainly a grappler, so there was no power threat behind his punches, but he stuffed the takedowns. He stuffed four of the takedowns. When it comes to big power punches, I think Marcin does fold, but those are elite power punchers, in a sense. You know, like who are we talking about? The Tom Aspinall. Who else did he fight that he died basically? He beat Walt Harris, and Walt Harris in my opinion, is a power puncher as well. Let's see. Other than that, Augusta Sakai beat him, and Shamil Abdurakhimov beat him as well. Derek Lewis knocked him out as well. I just think that if, like I said, Tai Tuivasa KO round one, round two could be the play. I also don't like that he's missing a meniscus or something's wrong with his knee. That's no great. Whenever Marcin Tybura is gonna get you alongside the fence and clinch tie you and try to make it ugly, try to trip you, try to take you down, and you're a fish out of water. The Volkov fight is not a great look for Tai Tuivasa. I don't like that was just not a great fight for him, in my opinion. He got outclassed in every way. Volkov ended up getting the submission. Very hard fight to pick just because we both know what both of these men bring. If I have to pick someone just to pick, I'm gonna pick Tybura. I'm gonna pick the underdog in this one. I'm probably gonna regret it. I think Tuivasa might knock him out in the first two rounds. How I'm gonna bet it? Probably Tuivasa round one, round two. After that, probably gonna take a shot at Marcin Tybura in the later rounds, in my opinion. What do you got?
All right. Since the bum has made his pick, Tybura is your pick, correct? Just
Correct.
making sure. There's a lot of back and forth on that one for you. Looking over this fight, I think it's pretty simple. I think we all love Bam Bam, 3 fight losing streak. A lot of these fights were against top level competition. Cyril Gane, Sergey Pavlovich, and even Alexander Volkov is pretty good to a sense. I think he is a talented heavyweight. Not one of my favorites, if I'm being honest, but still a good fighter. Tybura got his lights put out by Tom Aspinall in the first round. He's a solid fighter. He's going to come forward, stay busy. He's going to try to work in the grappling, takedown, use trips, and all that type of stuff. I think if he's able to weather a storm, then he is going to be able to take the fight to the ground and be a problem. But I think that Tai Tuivasa has been on a downward spiral his last 3 fights. Meniscus is gone, you said. I think I saw that too. But I am going to ride with Bam Bam in this fight. Everyone loves this guy. He hits hard. He has that one punch KO power. And I just have a feeling he will catch Tybura. And I feel like he's not going to be able to survive the onslaught, the beginning onslaught. And I think Bam Bam puts him out. I think we all celebrate with a shoey and we all have a good night to end the fight night.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, betting wise, round one,
I
round
think
two,
Tybura is a bum.
round one, round two to Ibasa, just because I think if he kills him, he kills him in the first or second round. Like that's a given, in my opinion. I think after that, round three, round four, and five, if Tuivasa is probably not gassed out of his mind, because I feel like he gets gassed out pretty quickly. You know, Tuivasa fights
Yeah.
don't really they're not
They don't last long.
exactly. They're not known to last long. Even if you want to take, I wouldn't be mad if you wanted to take the under 2.5. It's at -220, or if you wanted to play it risky and take the under 1.5 or over 1.5. However you want to take it, I'd probably take the under 1.5 at even money. I think that's pretty great as well. Um, because like I said, he'll either kill him in the first round or the second round. So in the 1.5, you're covered throughout the whole first round, and then you're covered half of the second round, of course. But who knows? Maybe he kills him after after the half of the second round, then you're fucked. So, I would put Tuivasa KO round 1, KO round 2. And then if I see Marcin Tybura still withstand those punches and he's still looking okay, maybe a live bet on him. He'll probably be at like plus 1,000 at that point because he'll probably been knocked down like twice. And I think Marcin Tybura, if he like Tybura only wins this if he can get him down because Tuivasa on the ground is horrible. Like fish out of water, doesn't know what to
Yeah.
do, and because he's fat. Let's just put it out there. If he has success with that, he can win. But I think Tuivasa is going to be a little bit too quick for him. So round 1, round 2 KO would be my bet. But I'm hoping Tybura last, and then I can put like a unit and a half on live Tybura and see if he can win. Yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
And yeah, and like thinking about it, I don't think this fight goes into the fourth to the fifth round. And if it does, it would be a first because I don't think any of Tai Tuivasa's fights have ever gone past the third round. I think only one of them has gone into the third round, and I think that was the Cyril Gahn fight. But his fights do not last long, so I don't even want to know what his cardio looks like into a fourth or fifth round, or shoot, even in the late stages of the third round. So it's got to be tied by a KO in round 1 or 2. If it goes any further than that, I think we all know Tabora is imposing his will on the ground and probably gets him out of there.
Yeah, only the Cyril Gane fight has gone round 3 from what I'm seeing. Then he lost a unanimous decision against Ivanov back in 2019. So that went all 3 rounds, I believe, in which I'm quite certain that he looked kind of trash at the 2019. Let me look at these stats on that. Ivanov
Oh, he won a decision fight against Andre Arlovsky in 2018.
2018. Yes, he did win that.
Yeah.
Against Ivanov in 2019, he got taken down twice, and I'm pretty sure that was how both second and third round ended. Him just dead on the floor. 2018, let's see the Arlovsky fight. Arlovsky attempted 2 takedowns, but old Arlovsky's not known to be a great takedown master, in my opinion. On the feet, it was kind of close.
Fact.
But yeah, I think both ways to play. Like I said, KO round 1, round 2. If not, live entry on Tybura to win. But it's gonna be a nasty card in my opinion. I think I have some good spots, but let's give the audience a little parlay for them to cook up. Um, Whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Okay. I think I'm ready.
All right. All right, cool. For my parlay, 3 units. 3 units wins you 7.5 units. Jafiel Filio money line, Gerald GM3 money line, and Isaac Bulgarian money line plus 251. 3-legger parlay. Lock it in.
It's a lot.
What you
Okay.
got? What you got?
So looking over this, I have a way you can play this. Hold on, let me add one more. Okay, so I have Isaac Bulgarian money line. I have GM3 money line, and looking over, since I in Brian Battle I trust. I don't know if y'all do, but I do. That one's gonna be a sweat. Plus 239 for all 3 money line. If you want to substitute, you can substitute Brian Battle. I would, if I'm going to substitute him, I would probably put in, where is it? Oh shoot. Okay. If I'm substituting that, I would probably put in parlay either in Chuckway round one, TKO, KO, or DQ, or round two for a plus 330. If you think he gets it done, I would say maybe round two. So you could add that. This one would probably be a risky one. But Gerald Mershark, Isaac Dolgarian, and in Chuckway round two, plus 882. So one unit will win you 8.8 units. So
Okay.
I think that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I have another one if you want to get risky. Filio, money line, GM3 by submission at plus 125, and Bulgarian money line. That is at plus 457 odds. You put one unit, you get 4.5 units back, plus your initial one unit. I think that's pretty safe in my opinion.
I think that's a solid one.
Yeah. Other than that, I think we are. Go ahead. We are good to go. Or-
Yeah, I think we're good. I think this one, obviously, it isn't the best fight card. A lot of people are going to complain about it. I know myself. I'm not going to be the most excited about it, but I will be watching this fight card and enjoying. Hopefully, we get some bangers. Who knows? This could be one of those cards that everyone's like, I'm not tuning in. And then, you miss like a whole night worth of knockouts, submissions, and stuff like that. But I will definitely be watching this card.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Also to note, by the way, guys, it just dropped, probably dropped like 50 minutes ago, but um, main event for UFC 301, I believe, just announced. It is going to be Pantoja, of course, against Steve Urseg. Yeah, that's what I had. That's what I did too. That's how I left. Yeah, so
I was like, that's crazy. Imagine.
yeah, dude. And for the prelims, there are gonna be some good prelims up there. The Elvis Brenner against Oral Bay
The
Midibek.
caveman.
Alessandro Costa against Kevin Borjas. Joe Anderson Brito, your guy against Jack Shore. That's your guy, right? Pretty sure.
What?
Joe Anderson Brito.
Oh, because he choked out your fraud.
JSP.
Yep.
Yeah, so we have that guy as well fighting, and in the main event we have a couple Elvis. No, that's prelims. Main event we have Anthony Smith, Vitor Petrino, Paul Craig against Caio Borralho. Michelle Pereira is coming back to fight Mahmoud Muradov. Caroline Kolswiniak is fighting Isman Lucindo, and Pantoja Urseg is going to be the main event. Co-main is Michelle Pereira against Muradov.
I think it's pretty much a good card. That kind of fight surprises me. I didn't think he would get that fight off that last performance. I mean, he did look good, but I thought they would go into the kind of go the way of Roy Val versus Pantoja again. That's where I thought the UFC would head, but I guess they think Steve Urseg is the guy. I'm not. Is that the main event? Is that confirmed the main event?
Yeah, confirmed.
Oh gosh, I don't know about that as a main event, but
Dude, that's
I'll look forward to it. I think it's a good fight.
I
We
think
all know that Pantoja is probably my favorite flyweight out there,
I think
so I'll look forward to it. But it's kind of crazy. It could be one of those fights that Steve Urseg could pull off an upset.
yeah, I think honestly it's because they want new blood in the division in flyweight. And Irseg obviously hasn't fought Pantoja, so Pantoja is like what 9-0 against the top like 8, I believe, right? Or the top 5, something random.
Bro,
Um,
I think he clears them.
yeah, he clears basically the top 8 in my from what I've read. Um, this is gonna be a weird fight because it's like the champ against the number 10 guy. uh, they're saving
Yeah,
they're saving Mukayev. I think Mukayev is a little bit of a fraud as well, in my opinion. Don't really like the guy. I
mhm.
mean, I don't have anything against the guy. I just think he's a little bit of a fraud.
He's a
He'd get exposed if someone pushes the pace. Someone that's I think he lost the Filio fight, in my opinion, until he didn't lose the Filio fight. If that makes any sense. Um,
He hasn't given me any performance where you can look at the guy and think this is the next guy to take over this division. I think if he were to fight Pantoja, I think Pantoja is so well rounded. I think he pieces that bum up and does wherever he wants. I think ground, feet, anywhere, grappling. I think Pantoja does him dirty.
Yeah, and they're saving him. They're saving Mokaev because I believe Mokaev should have gone the next fight. You know, but I really wanted Usyk against Mokaev. I've been basically preaching for that, and I mean we got Mokaev tweeting that he has more finishes than Usyk fights in the UFC. Just facts, but whatever. You should have fought him then when I told you to fight him. But it is what it is. We got a main event. Other than that, guys, if you are betting this weekend, please be safe. Bet where you can only lose. Don't go too crazy. Best of luck, anyone that's betting. Fade us or tail us. We don't care. Just listen to the podcast. Talk to us. Discuss MMA. Don't really care. You can find us at FTC Fobs on the X/Twitter. And you can find my mans over here at FTC Ed1 on the Instagram, or not Instagram, sorry, on the Twitter/X. Got any final words, Edwino?
I don't like how you just said that. We're probably gonna have to fight about that soon. But regardless, everyone appreciate y'all for coming out. I think that some of these fights do have potential to be really good ones. Don't just throw bash on the card just because it isn't the best one. I think that this is just, we have to have some of these nights if we're going to get the UFC 300 and those kind of fights. But either way, I'm excited. If anyone wants to discuss these fights, give us your opinion or anything, we're always here. We've already shouted out our X profiles on the pod. So tell us what you think. And also, for every single one of y'all, help is on the way. If you do have a gambling addiction, losing your house, losing all your money, your wife's going to leave, your dog's going to leave, or shoot, even your children are going to leave, or even your pet turtle, help is always available. 1-800-662-4357 is the National Gambling Hotline for help. Help is always available. Don't lose more than what you can afford to. This is all in good fun. And if you make plenty along the way, hey, even better, but don't go homeless over it. But besides that, I'm looking forward to UFC 300 and whatever else is along the road. I know some of these next fight nights aren't going to be the best, but we will be here to discuss them and break them down and do the best to make you enjoy them as well. We're always going to be here.
Absolutely. Until then, catch us tomorrow as we watch the fights. Tweet at us, like I said, discuss with us. Don't care. And looking forward to the next episode where we break down what is the next card. Is it the
Isn't it Rivas versus
Namatramas?
Naomis?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, you said who?
I said Nama Traumas because he has trauma.
Oh, yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
who the heck is that?
Next card, Rebus against Nama Traumas. We are gonna be breaking down that card as well. But until then, we'll catch you on the flip side. I hope everyone is safe this weekend. Have good time. Have fun time. Drink some Modelo's for us. Drink some Bud Light if that's your choice of beer. But drink whatever you want. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace, guys.